The book from which I'm going to read is a story told by a classically unreliable narrator. And it's an unreliable story in that it purports to be about a scandalous affair between a 40-something-year-old teacher and a young male pupil. But in the course of the story, one discovers it's really about a whole set of other things, not least the slightly dotty narrator. And in the very short passage I'm going to read, the narrator discusses with her friend, the adulteress having the affair with the young boy, she discusses the question of childlessness and her own spinsterhood. I think that's about all you need to know. Saiba and I had an argument about children once. We were talking about my retirement, and I made a jokey remark about how desolate it was going to be. "Oh, don't say that," Saiba said. She looked genuinely pained, but somehow her remark irritated me. I felt that I was being shut up. "Why shouldn't I?" asked. "It's the truth. I'm a dried-up old lady with no husband, very few friends, no children. If I'd had just one child..." "Oh, nonsense." Sheiba's tone had a surprising sharpness. "What do you mean, nonsense? You don't even know what I was going to say." "Yes, I do. You were going to say that a child would have given your life meaning or made it worthwhile or whatever, and that isn't true. It's a myth. Children give you a lot of things, but not meaning." "How can they not? When you die, Ben and Polly will be living. When I die, that'll be it. There'll be nothing left." Saiba laughed. "You think my children are my immortality? They're not me, you know. And if life is meaningless, bearing children is just giving birth to more meaninglessness." "But I'm alone, Saiba. Don't you see?" She shrugged. Confronting a married person with the irreducible fact of one's singleness is usually the trump card that ends the discussion. I was surprised to find that Saiba did not yield. "Being alone isn't the worst thing in the world," she said. "But it's funny, isn't it?" I said, "how it's always people who aren't alone who say that." I was quite angry now. "Not so funny," Saiba replied. "Maybe they're in the better position to judge." "Saiba, the only indisputable purpose humans have on the earth is to reproduce, and I haven't done it. There's no getting around that." "Purpose. That's closer to it," Saiba said. "Children do give you a purpose, in the sense of keeping you busy, in the sense of something to get out of bed and do every morning, but that's not the same as meaning." I laughed, rather bitterly, I'm afraid. What I thought was, that's the sort of fine distinction that a married woman with children can afford to make. But she was right. Being alone is not the most awful thing in the world. You visit your museums and cultivate your interests and remind yourself how lucky you are not to be one of those spindly Sudanese children with flies beating their mouths. You make out to-do lists, reorganize linen cupboard, learn 2 sonnets. You dole out little treats to yourself, slices of ice cream cake, concerts at Wigmore Hall. And then, every once in a while, you wake up and gaze out of the window at another bloody daybreak and think, "I cannot do this anymore. I cannot pull myself together again and spend the next 15 hours of wakefulness fending off the fact of my own misery." People like Saiba think that they know what it's like to be lonely. They cast their minds back to the time they broke up with a boyfriend in 1975 and endured a whole month before meeting someone new. Or the week they spent in a Bavarian steel town when they were 15 years old, visiting their greasy-haired German pen pal and discovering that her handwriting was the best thing about her. But about the drip, drip of long haul, no end in sight solitude, they know nothing. They don't know what it is to construct an entire weekend around a visit to the laundrette, or to sit in a darkened flat on Halloween night because you can't bear to expose your bleak evening to a crowd of jeering trick-or-treaters. Or to have the librarian smile pityingly and say, "Goodness, you're a quick reader," when you bring back 7 books read from cover to cover a week after taking them out. They don't know what it is to be so chronically untouched that the accidental brush of a bus conductor's hand on your shoulder sends a jolt of longing straight to your groin. I've sat on park benches and tubes and schoolroom chairs, feeling the great store of unused, objectless love sitting in my belly like a stone until I was sure I would cry out and fall flailing to the ground. About all of this, Saiba and her like have no clue. Thank you.